Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin and we're going to look at the historical 1 year return on investment, or ROI. So if you guys like the content, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, click the thumbs up button, and also check out the Telegram channel in the description below. And if if you find yourself really enjoying this type of content and want more of it, we do have a premium list. And you can go sign up for that at intothecryptoverse.com. So please check that out. We do have around 250 people or so that are on this list, and they're getting access to extra content each week. So let's go ahead and dive in. So first, we have the 1 year ROI of Bitcoin. So if you look at the macro level picture here, what I'm doing is I'm just plotting in the average ROI of each month had you bought in the previous year during that month. And it's an average, right? So, I mean, obviously you're going to have days in the month that the ROI could vary significantly. But if you're just looking at the average ROI from 1 year to another, this is what you come up with. And I've drawn this dashed line here, which just corresponds to 10 to the 0, which is 1. The reason I drew that is so you can see your break-even point. So this is if you want the ROI to definitely be above this line, because if it's not, it means then on average you're losing money during that year. Also note that this is a logarithmic scale, so each major tick here to here is 10x, and then here to here is another 10x. So this is 1, 10, 100. So I hope that makes sense. So if we kind of just show a general trend, so and first of all, I should say that the first market cycle was the 2011 cycle that peaked very early on. The second one was 2013. The third one was 2017. The fourth one is likely 2023 or somewhere around that time frame. But for the context of this video, I'm just going to be calling more or less the time between peak to peak is the cycle number 1. So I hope that makes sense. So this is our cycle 1. So from peak to valley to peak, this is what it looks like. You can kind of see the triangle being outlined there. If you look at the second cycle, you can see it takes a lot longer. So we're going up from 2013 down to a valley in 2015, back to a peak in 2017. And this is, again, the average 1 year ROI. And this is, I feel like this is further evidence to show that the cycles are lengthening. It's one thing if I show, say, one type of graph and manipulate it in a certain way to push some narrative, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm literally presenting, probably 40 or 50 different ways to look at the data, and literally everything suggests that the cycles are lengthening, and that the 4-year cycle theory, it does not really make a whole lot of sense in the first place. So we have cycle 1, cycle 2. Then we're clearly in the third cycle. So basically we're between the peak of 2017 and then the theoretical next peak that I believe would probably happen in 2023 or sometime thereabouts. And if we extend this out, so let's suppose that we see something like this where the peak is somewhere out here, so we're just drawing a line out to that point. And note that, these lines over here undercut these shorter term ROIs, but we just drew it from, and I guess this one got moved over a little bit, but basically it's just peak to valley, peak to valley, peak to valley, and then the next peak. So if we were to draw a trend line, so we all love imaginary lines. They don't necessarily mean anything, but they can help gauge where we might be in the grand scheme of things. If this trend were to continue, where we continue to cap out that 1 year ROI at lower and lower levels, and then we cap it out the next time at our next paradigm shift in the price of Bitcoin, then let's suppose it's 2023. Clearly, if you are still, say, a 4-year cycle theorist, or you think maybe early 2022, mid 2022 is where the next peak is, you can always just look to see where that would correspond to. But let's suppose lengthening cycles are correct, because that's what I strongly believe is the case. If that is the case, then the cycle number 3, if it peaks out into 2023, it would do so at the time the 1 year ROI average would be about 3x. And now that's not 3x from today's prices, that would be 3x from the prices approximately a year before. So let's think about this for a second. If we reach, say, 6 figures I'm thinking somewhere between 1 to 200,000. If we reach that, probably lower ones than upper 100s, but let's just suppose it's somewhere between 1 to 200,000. If we reach that point in, say, middle of 2023, let's suppose August of 2023 is our next peak. If that is our next peak, and this is the 3x in a 1 year ROI, basically, so that would mean that in August of 2022, our valuation, our Bitcoin valuation, would be 3 times less. So let's just take a number and say, let's keep it simple and say $100,000 Bitcoin. So if that's the case, then that would make us think that, well, maybe by the middle of 2022, so let's say August of 2022, maybe we're going to be at around a $33,000 Bitcoin at that time period. So if that's the case, then extrapolate, or continuing to work our way back in this cycle theory, then maybe we reach a sustainable $20,000. And this goes back to that primary logarithmic regression band that I've showed countless times. Our fair valuation of Bitcoin prices at $20,000 for us to get to that fair valuation would take us to either the end of 2021 or early 2022 is when we would get to a fair valuation of 20,000 a Bitcoin. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't get to 20,000 sooner than that. If we had looked at, say, 2018, a lot of people in 2019 were not thinking we would get to 14,000. And it's clear that we can have short-term speculative bubbles that are maybe ultimately leading to the next blow-off top many years down the road. The point is maybe we go to $20,000, in the next 12 months, maybe we don't. But what we're looking for is a sustainable $20,000. If you think about it, it's not that dissimilar from, what $10,000 Bitcoin used to be, where we used to hardly spend any time at $10,000 just because there was so much sell pressure at that point, to today, where it's becoming more of the fair valuation. I mean, the fair valuation at present prices is just over $8,000 or so, according to the primary logarithmic regression band fit to non-bubble data. So it becomes more of like the fair value where we can actually maintain some level of support. Now we also have those in the regression band. We have, say, our lower bound and upper bound, and for those, if you're not familiar, I think the lower bound currently is around $6,000, and the upper bound is probably around a couple $1,000s higher than where the price currently is. So if you think about it like that, if the fair valuation of Bitcoin gets to $20,000 by the end of 2021, early 2022, which, by the way, would also correspond to being in the primary regression band, which also was the case the last market cycle. It got to $1,100 while it was still in the primary regression band, and we've shown this in other videos. So if that's the case, then working backwards again, we would expect 20,000 by the end of 2021, early 2022, and a sustainable 20,000 per Bitcoin by that time period. That means, in the meantime, for the next 18 months, who cares what Bitcoin's doing? I mean, if you believe in this, in the math behind it, and you could obviously argue that there's more to Bitcoin than just looking at the data, and you might say, well, there's other fundamental things, there's news and all sorts of other stuff, and I'm not necessarily agreeing or disagreeing, but I tend to think that in bull markets people just ignore bad news, and in bear markets people just ignore good news. So the news doesn't really change the momentum of the price of Bitcoin. What it does is it just continues to give people reason to FOMO in, or to capitulate out. And then that's more or less what I think how the news affects these longer term cycles. But if this is the case, again, it would put us at around $100,000 Bitcoin, probably a little bit higher, maybe like 120. So then by the middle of 2022, if we were to go, say a 3x between middle of 2022 and middle of 2023, then that means by the middle of 2022, we would want to be at around $30,000 to $40,000 per Bitcoin. And by the beginning of 2022, late 2021, we would want to be around $20,000 per Bitcoin. And again, it's going to take us a while to build up that support to maintain a $20,000 Bitcoin and not just crash down the minute we get to it, like we did in 2017. So, this basically means I would anticipate us getting to $20,000 per Bitcoin either by the end of 2021 or early 2022. And I also, for those people who think that this is a silly way to look at the data, like why would you denominate it on the average monthly 1-year ROI? We also just have the 1-year ROI. And this is a running ROI. This is the running 1-year ROI. And you can also see this general trend line that forms. Looking out, say it's about 3 to 4x like it was last time. So basically the same story holds, that we would want to see a 3 to 4x in that final year that would get Bitcoin to its next paradigm shift. And a lot of people say, well, why do you look at all these different things? Is this really that useful? And I think it is, because if we have all these charts at our disposal and we see that literally every indicator is pushing against a historical trend line on the macroscopic viewpoint, then it could help people understand that it is a speculative bubble and that FOMOing in at that time is likely not a good idea. Now, this is not financial advice, but again, the smart money, I think, is getting in during 2019 through 2021, and people are going to probably pulling their hair out during these years over what Bitcoin's doing. But if your time horizon can say be another 3 years out and you don't really care what's going on in the day-to-day now, then I think it's probably going to work out for the better if you can just not focus on, say, the day-to-day of the Bitcoin price. Now, again, you can see the bottom of the band here. So essentially, if you're seeing the 1-year ROI get down to like a loss of around 80%, then historically speaking, it's a good time to be buying into the market. And when you're up against this band, it's historically a good time to be selling. Here you can see, just for full entertainment purpose, you can see the 1-year ROI, the 2-year, the 3-year, and the 4-year. So the blue line is just the 1-year ROI, which is what we just showed. The red line is the 2-year ROI. And you can also see these similar patterns where you see these longer term peaks and how we're reducing our volatility, our macroscopic volatility. Now, clearly there's days like in March 13th or whatever, where we saw a 50% drop in one day. But when you're looking at the macro scale, the volatility is decreasing. We also have the 3-year ROI, and one of the interesting things about the 4-year ROI is had you bought Bitcoin at any time in its history, for the most part, you would have been above a 10x ROI. Now, there are times where it would have dipped below 10x down to maybe a modest 4 or 5x over 4 years. But for the most part, you can see that having bought 4 years ago, you would have been up a 10x at near the bottom, assuming you bought it one of the worst times. And if you bought it like literally the worst time, maybe 4 or 5x. But generally, the base is around 10x. Clearly, that's not going to be able to hold because, as we get to, say, the end of 2021, in order to maintain a 10x, then by the end of 2021, we would need to see a $200,000 Bitcoin. So, this is going to continue to step down most likely. It's not like it's going to hold as a 10x ROI forever. But I think it's just interesting. It kind of gives you a better appreciation of Bitcoin and helps you not focus on day-to-day moves, but rather focus on year-to-year moves and going into, say, that expansion and contraction phases that we've shown in the past. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, again, we do have a premium list. It's quantitative market analysis designed to give you an edge. My PhD is in engineering. I try to use my background to relay data science models, risk metrics for Bitcoin, Ethereum, some other coins as well. We're looking at these logarithmic regression models. I'll probably be putting in some types of ROI analysis as well. So if you guys want to join the premium list, you think this content is valuable, then again, go to my website, intothecryptoverse.com. If you want a discount, then you can pay with crypto, and you either pay for 6 or 12 months, and you can get a discount. So please check that out. Included in the premium list is a weekly report delivered straight to your inbox, and it provides some of these types of graphs that I'm showing you. You have access to what I'm looking at, these risk metrics for various coins that will allow you to dynamically enter and exit the market without worrying and stressing about what the market's doing. You just follow a systematic approach. So you get a weekly report. In addition to that weekly report, you also get a weekly premium video to accompany the report. So if for those people who don't want to read a 4 to 5 page, single space report with 13 charts, I will walk you through my thinking on it. In addition to that, you also get access to a Google Sheets document, which has a dashboard that I'm building to show you these live updated, some of these live updated metrics, and we're adding to that every week. So if you guys want to check that out, I would love to have you join. Again, we have around 250 people on the list. A lot of these people seem to like what they're getting and think that it's worth it. So if you want, check it out. It's $49 a month, and again, you can get a discount if you want to pay with cryptocurrency. So that'll wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the analysis on the return on investment of Bitcoin. That has helped you look at things from a macroscopic picture. Obviously, we like to pull up trading views sometimes and just look at what the price is going, what the price is doing. But I get so many people asking me, like, should I buy today? Should I buy tomorrow? No, look at the macroscopic picture, come up with a plan based on something, not your emotions. Come up with a plan. I can help provide that plan if you want, if you sign up to the list, but if it's not that, that's fine. Come up with your own plan and stick to it. Because if you don't, then at some point, we're going to get to that next paradigm shift in Bitcoin, and you're likely going to miss out on it because you're going to think that when it gets to 100K, maybe it'll go to 300K and then 400K. There's going to be a lot of dumb money pouring in. All the dumb money pouring in is going to be, saying, it's FUD if you're saying anything other than the price is going up. So this is dumb money, and believe me, it will come. It will come, and when it comes, you need to be ready for it, and you need to capitalize on it, because when it comes, it only tends to last the top of that speculative bubble. It only lasts for a few short days, maybe a few weeks at the most, and then it's over. And then you're going to have to wait, especially if lengthening cycle theory is true, and you're going to have to wait maybe another 8 or 9 years to see a new speculative bubble, and then that bubble will probably be between 300 to 500,000. So again, the returns are going to diminish over time. The time to see those returns are likely going to diminish as well. It doesn't mean you can't make a lot of money. It just means you need to understand what you're looking for, because if you think it's going to go up 50x, when every indicator developed shows that, okay, we're near the top, then you could get burned if you're not prepared. So again, if you want, check out the premium list into thecryptoverse.com. I'd love to have you come on board. You'll get a weekly email with a lot of information in it. So I hope you guys join. If not, that's fine. At least subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can at least see the free content that I post. And at some point, I'll slowly start developing more premium videos and less public videos, because right now I'm basically putting out 6 or 7 public videos a week, and at some point it's going to slowly transition to less public, more premium. So if you guys want that, please go ahead and join, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.